Hello, Nicotine Warriors. My name is Nicholas Joel Farrar. I want to talk to you about what detox feels like and what you can perhaps expect in your process. There are no expectations in healing, period. But this information might be helpful for you, so I hope my experience can help you. Just remember, what works for me may not work for you. Everyone's individual, it's all different. This is going to be a completely improvised video. I have no notes. My camera is currently mounted to a tree. It might start raining. We'll see what happens, okay? So let me tell you first who I am. I am a grown-up Make-A-Wish kid. I was born with Lyme disease. I was extremely debilitated. I hated every moment of my life because I was in such crippling despair living in a torture chamber of a body. Now, those of you dealing with chronic pain know exactly what I mean when I say that. It is a horrific way to live. When your brain does not work, it is horrifying, it is embarrassing, it is shameful, it's really scary. So if you're in this group and you're researching nicotine, chances are you've been abandoned by the Western allopathic medical model. Doctors have not helped you. You must now help yourself, and God bless you for it. I mean that very, very sincerely. Healing comes from taking control. We gotta seize things. We gotta seize our own power to move forward. So I encourage every one of you who are feeling discouraged, keep going, don't give up. So, detox. I believe proper detoxification is essential for all healing. And I've seen posts in this group where people are like, I'm starting to feel sick, I don't know what's going on, maybe getting sweaty, feeling nauseous, not sleeping well, all these different things, right? It's important to remember that when our bodies become stagnated with toxins, removing them is not an easy thing. Theoretically, hopefully, it should be a gentle process. It should be like kind and nice and smooth. Sometimes it's the opposite of that. It's rude, it's abrupt, it's rough. So it's important to pace yourself. When it comes to dosing your nicotine, you are your own best judge of what you need. Just because a 3.5, a 7 milligram, maybe even a 21 milligram patch worked for someone else doesn't mean it's going to work for you in the same way. Nor does it mean you should jump into it. You should listen to your own body, experiment, be patient, which is really, really hard because all of us are eager to feel better, okay? I've been doing various treatments for 25 years. I'm 32 years old. It can be a long road. Hopefully it's a short road for you, but just remember, none of us got into our current stage in life overnight. It took our whole lives to get where we are right now. And most of us live toxic lives, and that's why we got sick. They may have been emotionally toxic, mentally toxic, physically toxic. There's lots of different types of toxins, right? So you want to detoxify your lifestyle, and you need to have your detox pathways open. Someone made a comment in a nicotine group talking about getting really sick and how she felt really good and she was moving on up, and then all of a sudden she tanked and she said, I'm back at square one, and she was really discouraged and she felt like she had lost all her progress. I would encourage you, if you also feel like you're back to square one, that at the very least you have more knowledge than you did before. You have more familiarity. That is a valuable asset in this game. of health. Every little bit you learn, every little bit. It's a game of margins. We gotta have marginal victories and add them all together. So this lady was saying, I'm back at square one. I feel like my body is really toxic. Is it possible that I'm killing off so many spike proteins that my body is releasing them, but then they're just like sitting and I'm not actually releasing them all the way around in my body? So this lady already knew what was going on. She had it figured out. Like many people, she didn't trust her own view on the situation. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm sick, I can't trust myself, right? That's how we've been conditioned to believe, because the Western medical model wants us to defer our own power to an outside authority. My belief is that trusting any earthly authority is a fool's errand. I only trust one authority, and it's not on earth, it is above, okay? So, develop and trust your intuition. That is God's greatest gift to us, is discernment of the spirit. And sickness often humbles us in such a way that we have to rely on that, okay? So, this lady, she was feeling great on the patches. She was moving up and up and up, and then she got really sick. And she's like, what am I doing wrong? I must be doing something wrong. Something's not working, right? My intuitive thought was that she needed to detox thoroughly. Because if you're stirring stuff up in your body, it's creating a storm of debris. It's kind of like if you take a gas-powered leaf blower and you're blowing leaves on the lawn, and all of a sudden you hit a pile of dust, and that dust gets stirred up and it fills the air, and there's all these pathogens and allergens in the air. That's not thoroughly detoxing the lawn of dirt. That's just stirring shit up, okay? So when we stir stuff up in our bodies, but we're not actually getting it out of our bodies, it can make us sicker, and that's not true detox, because our bodies protect us. Our bodies are divinely intelligent, right? So our bodies will encase things in protective coatings, whether they're biofilms or putting on fat and tucking away toxins into our fat. The body has all these different mechanisms that it does this, right? Liver stones, gallstones, etc. So if we go into a cleansing endeavor, but we're not actually cleansing it out of our body, we are releasing things upstream and they're getting clogged downstream. But the stream is just dammed up and it's pooling, and those toxins are getting bigger, and they're no longer in their protective, compartmentalized state that's relatively safe. So this creates a feeling of ultra stagnation. In the chronic Lyme world, a lot of people are familiar with the term Herxheimer reaction, aka HERXING. This is when you are detoxing so heavily that your body is essentially being poisoned, okay? You're getting overwhelmed. You're having symptoms come up like more brain fog, more fatigue, more sickness, more pain, okay? Hopefully with my microphone you can't hear the semi-truck honking horn in the background, but like I said, this was going to be a real improvised video in real life, okay? So when we release things upstream, but we don't have it handled downstream, shit's getting stagnant, okay? And I mean that quite literally in the intestines. If you are not having 1, 2, 3 bowel movements every single day, you are stagnant to some degree. 1, 2, 3 every single day. Now that might be mind-blowing to some people. I know it was for me, because when my system was ravaged by antibiotics, I was having a bowel movement once every 4 or 5 days if I was lucky. Once every 3 days was like a miracle. I used to clog toilets all the time, and it was humiliating, and it was extremely painful. I would break out in cold sweats and get dizzy on the toilet trying to move my bowels. And it would be a 45-minute endeavor once a week. Okay? So I'm not saying this from a place of intestinal privilege, like I've always had good bowel movements my entire life. That is not the case. Defecation is the most important foundational aspect of detox. Okay, we have a handful of different ways to detox. Let's see if I can remember them. I'm feeling a bit haggard today because I was up at 5 a.m. yesterday and I was corresponding with people all day long, and I did an 1.5-hour video call with someone who was very sick with Lyme, and I was responding to nicotine related comments like all day long until like 1 in the morning. So I'm feeling tired today, bit frazzled, but I do have a nicotine lozenge in my mouth. I've got a fraction of a patch, 7 milligrams on me, so that's helping, right? So, the handful of ways that your body detoxes. Number 1, defecation. Number 2, or maybe, defecation should be number 2, right? So let's say number 1, urination. Number 2, defecation. Number 3, perspiration, sweating. Number 4, respiration. You detox through your breath. If your partner, you go to kiss your partner after you just started nicotine and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I don't want to kiss you. That could be you're releasing toxins through your breath, particularly while you were sleeping. So watch out for that sleeping detox breath. Might surprise you or your partner. Tell them that so they can give you feedback, because chances are it'll be hard to smell yourself. Okay? Which that sounds kind of funny, but you should smell yourself because that gives your brain information on how you're doing. I can smell toxins in my sweat, particularly from the armpits. I can smell it in my bowel movements. I can smell it in my urine. And sometimes I can smell it in my breath. That gives me information day by day of the different things that I'm dealing with and how I'm reacting to foods and different things, right? The final detox pathway. And let me recap real quick. Urination, number 1. Defecation, number 2. Perspiration, sweating, number 3. Respiration, breathing, number 4. 5 is exfoliation. If you scrub your skin, you are opening your pores up to better release. Dead skin can be a lot more than just dead skin, okay? I've seen people go through these detox journeys and healing journeys, and when they scrub their skins, it's gross. Their skin releases like gray, dark, weird stuff, okay? So if you've never done a full body scrub, that might help you. If you've never looked into dry brushing, you might want to look into that. These are things that help, okay? Every single one of these different aspects, hydrating properly so you're urinating frequently within reason, okay, is going to help you. If you drink too much water that's not mineralized, you're going to have a hard time. If you're drinking a lot of sugary drinks, sugar is an antidote to nicotine. I learned this in a pipe smoking group, a gentleman's pipe smoking group on Facebook, where they shared that if you ever get sick while smoking cigars, it's an old school cigar smoker trick to eat candy to mitigate nicotine sickness. Interesting, right? That's a topic that I'm going to bring up in a separate video because I think a lot of people have no idea that sugar can be undoing or preventing the nicotine from working effectively. On that note, if the nicotine is getting too strong for you and you're jumping in faster than you'd like, I told my own mother when I gave her nicotine lozenges for Mother's Day, Mom, if you get too sick, if you feel lightheaded, if you feel woozy, if you feel nauseous, do a spoonful of honey. She did one time. She was getting nauseous. I told her that. She did a spoonful of honey. Bam! It instantly turned it around for her. Okay. So that's a lot of things. I'm getting at about 17 minutes here, which I think is going to be the sweet spot for me to end this video. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I know that most people don't have time to spare, and when you're sick and you're run ragged and you're overwhelmed, it's very tricky to take in information. So if you have thoughts on how I can present this information in a more digestible way, let me know. I'm doing it simple, long form, rapid fire to try to save you time and do it just like I would if you were standing in front of me, okay? I am open to people asking me questions. If you want to send me a message, I will do my best to reply. So, I wish you well in your healing. Don't give up. Listen to your body. Listen to the insight that God gives you. Remember, healing is individual and comes straight from God, okay? That's my personal belief. Whether you find that to be true is up to you. Thank you.